Hey, good morning, guys. I just wanted to bring you a quick video because I know that you are all, um, not all of you, but a lot of you are actively uh, thinking about the information that I've shared with you recently and the challenges that we face and what the real cause, the real problem is, and what the best possible solution will be. And one of the comments that I read this morning was from someone who said that they went back and they looked through old videos on our channels to try to get a better understanding of where we came from and how we got here. And the reason why this isn't necessarily the best research method is because YouTube continuously changes on the direction and the content and the push and the alignment with the trends and the audience and the algorithm. There are also a few other changes that have taken place since then. And these include the change in leadership at YouTube as they replaced, or their CEO at the time when we started, Susan, which I can't pronounce her last name, so I'm not going to butcher it, but she resigned and Neil Mohan, he took over. I truly believe, and I'm not the only one, I truly believe that this transition has had a major impact on YouTube in general and their goals and objectives. That's one, okay? But another would be, for instance, a case study of another channel. And guys, I was not saying that this is about race. I'm not saying that at all. All I said was somebody asked a question, another YouTuber asked a question, and they made the connection that when they removed their face from their thumbnails, they got more views on their videos. And they happened to be black. That's it. They weren't saying that this was racism. They were just asking the question, or at least presenting the idea of some subtle changes that could possibly help and improve our reach, which ultimately what we're trying to do is regain and recapture our reach to reach an audience so that we can begin to try and get our income back up. Despite the fact that the payout has been reduced, if we can make it up in volume, then we can begin to rebuild. As you know, we are probably at 90% down. 90% down. So just think about if however much money you would make and getting 90% less. So that's what we're faced with. That's what we're struggling with right now, what we're trying to solve. So the case study that I wanted to share with you guys, and again, I really do appreciate you guys watching and liking and subscribing, commenting, engaging, your kind words, your motivation. It truly helps me keep my spirits up, but also keeps me on my toes and keeps my brain and my wheels turning to find solutions. So, and I also know that not everybody watching is a YouTuber or has a channel or creates content or is familiar with the algorithm or YouTube Studio or the analytics, or is even in this niche that we are in, which we are in a unique niche. But as far as our channel and audience goes, YouTube has some specifics, and if you guys ever care to be bored with the details, I could show it to you on the back end. But the case study I have is channels that began during the pandemic. And one of these channels would be, let's just say, Meet Kevin, for example. And Meet Kevin has almost 2 million subscribers now. And he started out with real estate, but during the pandemic, he got a boost, he got a push because he started talking about the CARES Act, the government, stimulus money, unemployment benefits, PPP, Paycheck Protection Plan, EIDL loans, everything. Jerome Powell, Federal Reserve, he completely switched. And at that time, YouTube was pushing almost everybody, but it pushed his channel into a new direction. And it changed his audience from real estate to a completely different audience of folks interested in stimulus checks and what was going on with the government, the shutdown and COVID and things like that. Since then, YouTube, with the changes that I mentioned earlier on in the video, since then, YouTube and the world have changed. They're focused on the push and the trend, which then put his channel into a, it really reduced his views, like down to almost nothing. Now, recently, he has found quite possibly a new opening with some of the interviews and confrontation, and Patrick Bet-David and Peter Schiff and whoever else, and Tim Pool, and he had a few other folks on there on his channel, and it's really starting to show signs of progress towards getting back to growth and reach. Now, in addition to that, another channel, Gardner, which, you know, Gardner, he's a friend of ours, and he too was actually creating content before the pandemic, and he wasn't really making a lot of traction or getting a lot of traction with views. But when the pandemic hit, when everything got shut down, and he started bringing daily stimulus check updates, he got served at that time with everybody else. And now I believe he's almost 1.5 million subscribers, probably, maybe more. So at the time, what happened was, when the whole thing shifted and YouTube and quote unquote the world was no longer interested in that type of content, then you have to search and find what they will be interested in. And, you know, ideally you would want to find what they're interested in that aligns with you and your beliefs and your own personal opinions, and integrity, right? And ethics and morals and religion and everything. And he found that, and he's moved on from there, and he's having completely different discussions and conversations about the conflicts around the world, the wars that are going on, Russia, Ukraine, Israel, Palestine, Iran, everything. He's got experts, he's got guests. He even have Vivek Ramaswamy on there for an interview. He's got a lot of folks on there. And so essentially he found his new angle, his new direction. And so basically what I'm saying is that YouTube has changed ours, and that has made a drastic reduction in our reach, in addition to lower ad revenue, because of the conversations and the topics. There are some conversations and topics that will bring command a higher premium from what advertisers pay, but this is all part of the search for this solution. And in essence, what this means is we have to find out what YouTube wants us to talk about. Now, I'm not saying that YouTube only wants us to talk about things that we don't want to talk about, or trying to make us do things we don't want to do, or think ways that we don't normally think. But until we can figure out, as we're almost kind of searching in the dark, it's kind of like we're searching in the dark, trying to find the door to get out of this box, basically. That's where we're at. That's where we're at. And granted, we have seen some folks that YouTube would tie to our channels and say that we were similar, and the directions that they've gone in search of the payday. But we don't agree entirely with this direction. So we're just not going to just give in and be, we're not, you know, for lack of better terms, we're not going to pour ourselves out just for a paycheck, okay? If that were the case, we'd start our OnlyFans, okay? But, so the thing is that I hope I'm explaining this as clearly as I possibly can, for assuming people who don't do this on a regular basis. No matter what, I do want to thank you for your love and your consideration and your kind words, your prayers, and everything. You guys mean the world to me. You mean the world to us. We love you guys, and we'll see you real soon. Thank you.